I buy all my toys, figures, and collectibles at Big Bad Toy Store, and you can too. They ship worldwide, and you don't pay for it until it arrives in their store.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I first saw this suit too. It's not a classic Spider-Man suit, but it works. What can I say? Hey, what's up? Siri Emerald here. So this is going to be an unboxing of the Spider-Man Homecoming. You can also call it the Marvel Captain America Civil War suit, because for the most part it's the same suit. And it's MMS number 426, 1/6 scale collectible figure by Hot Toys. Here's the front of the box, a little shiny there. Side of the box, back of the box. Now this box has this little magnetic opening here, which is rare on Hot Toys figures. It doesn't always have that. And right here we have the little images that he projects on the ceiling at the end of the movie when he realizes some things about it. Of course, we're going to be talking about the movie, so spoiler alert. But there's a couple of little things right there, which is pretty cool. Set those aside. And let's get them out of the box. Now, I unboxed this previously on my live videos that I do on Saturday. Normally, you can slide these out of here and leave this in, but not on this guy. You gotta take them all the way out, because this is the deluxe version, which has in it his little hoodie and his school uniform to the physics competition. So you gotta take it all the way out in order to get that. Now, that didn't come with the regular version. The deluxe came with that and the Vulture Head. Now, the Vulture Head may literally just be a teaser to what we'll never get. That seems to be the way things work at times. So like I said, I already unboxed this. If you tuned in on my Saturday shows, you would have seen the live unboxing of it. So I'm just going to go over this real quick. Right here you have all the hands that come with this figure. You have a couple of web swinging hands, so you can put the webs in there. You have a couple of wall sticking hands, so the fingers are out, so you can press them up against the wall. You have a couple of grasping hands, so he can hold things. And you have a couple of the web shooting hands in the classic I love you symbol. This would actually be the real I love you. The thumb would be out more, but it's really close to the I love you symbol. And these are really textured. I don't know if you can see that or not, how textured these are. These are really textured. You also get the wings, which go underneath the armpits. And you can see here, or maybe you can or cannot, there's 3 little metal magnet attachments. Right there, and right there on each of these web wings to attach to the body. They attach really easily. Also on this coat, first time I've taken the coat out. So let's have a look at that. Got some strings in there. So kind of sloppily put together right there, but those are fake buttonholes, so it doesn't actually button up. Good looking coat. Microprint says National Board of Science and Technology, I think. And a hoodie. Does unzipper. It'll probably unzipper all the way down. I don't know. I'm not going to unzip it all the way down because I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it back up. And let's see. The string actually does cinch. So as you pull it, you can see it actually will tighten up there. So you can tighten it around his face if you so desire. It feels like soft cotton, like a cotton tee. And you get the Vulture Head sculpt. And like I said, I don't know if we're going to get more of the Vulture. They teased with this really cool Vulture figure, and if they build it, that'll be amazing. However, it wouldn't be the first time that Hot Toys teased us with something and then never came through with it. Only time will tell as to whether or not we actually get a Vulture, but that would be cool. So here's the figure, and he appears to be made out of 2 different types of fabric. You have like a real shiny and slick blue, and the red is textured like sandpaper almost. Real coarse sand, a real fine sandpaper. So this is really smooth, and this is textured. You can definitely tell what part of him you are touching as you're holding onto the figure. Now the eyes on this are also interchangeable. He comes with a whole slew of eyes here. Unfortunately, they attached them into the case. I'll show you those in a minute. He comes with his little headset that you can just put right over his head here. And he comes with this Science Today book, which has the exact same words printed on every single page. So Spider-Man should be able to read this book really quickly. So they could have made something interesting, like some of the other books that they've made in the past have multiple pages. Exact same page on every single book. These 2 pages right there. That's it. Every single page in the book. So he'll be able to finish that book real quick. You get a removable mask that he can hold in his hand. This is not designed to go over his head. I suppose it's quite possible that you could maybe stretch this out over his head. I would not recommend it. And also I would not recommend taking off those eye patches. I would leave those on there. They are hard, but I don't believe for 1 second they're designed to come off. I think if you take them off, you'll be sorry that you did. So that's designed for holding in his hand, or putting in a pocket, or shoving in his little backpack that he comes with right here. There's nothing in the backpack. It can be opened, and then you can put stuff in there if you so desire. Got some foam in there to give it its depth if you don't want to put anything in it. These zippers don't work, so it's just these zippers right here, looks like. So you have 2 compartments, 2 separate compartments. These don't open up. No zipper there. And you can just put that right over his back, or you can carry it by the strap right there. You also get some interchangeable wrist shooters. So these are the wrist shooters that will hold the webbing. There's 2 of those, compared to the wrist shooters that are on his wrist, which will not hold the webbing. There's a little hole right there to hold the webbing on the alternate set. So these do not have the little hole on them. And then speaking of webbing, you have kind of a splat webbing right here. And we then have a little collection of webbing. These are the ends that attach into the web shooters right there, up here also. And then you have 2 that look like they're gummed up as they're spraying out. The others would be for swinging with, including one that you could hang out of his hand to portray the swinging motion as well. Comes with the stand that comes with most of the figures nowadays, the 7-sided Spider-Man Homecoming stand with the flight ability piece in it. But they give you a real small little posing stick. I would expect a taller one. This one's really short, so you're not getting them up. You're not getting them up in much height. I mean, that's touching it there, and it comes up right to the back of his shoulders. So you're not putting him up in the sky far with this. Now he's not quite 12 inches tall. He is shorter than the other figures. For instance, here he is next to the Iron Man Mark 47. And there you can see that there is some height difference. He's not quite as tall as Tony is, and of course he would not be. You also get the lobster claw with the back support, and you get a couple of interchangeable wrist pegs, which never seems, you can never have too many of those. Let's talk about his eyes again, which I had to skip over. Because they put them in this, there's no compartment for them, so I don't want all this stuff to fall out like it tends to want to do. But there's his eyes. See, I may have to turn this off in order to be able to see those. So you have a pair of the red ones, which I think were, killing mode. And then you have wide open from where he is now to 2 squinted down. So it squints down further than what he has on now to wide open, and then the red killing mode. Moving these eyes are going to be a little bit of effort. And the bad thing is whenever you take the eyes out of something like this, they never seem to want to go back in any better than they were originally. So these are held in with a magnet. I'll go ahead and put his little red eye in here. We'll give Spidey a red eye. See the little magnet right there? And we'll just place that on here as such. And see if we can't get this guy out here. Using my fingernail, let's give him a wide open eye. Put him in half kill mode. Another thing that this Spidey comes with is an interchangeable head sculpt, and this is a not battle damaged sculpt. Does not come with a neck, just the head sculpt of Tom Holland as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. And I think they did a really good job with that. I mean, I see Tom Holland there, there's no doubt about that. And simple enough, just pop the head off, pop the head on. And like I said, there's no neck with this head sculpt because the neck is part of the suit here. And to put in the webbing into the web shooters, like I said, there's just a little hole here. All you do is just stick it into the hole. As such. Just like that. Now what I don't understand is what these extra pieces are. There's two of these and they only give you one finisher, more or less. So I could plug this in here. Okay. And then, for instance, put on it this little splat. All right. But I don't see that these connect in any way. I don't see these connecting to this. There's no real way for it to plug into each other, nor do I see any of these connecting into the handheld webbing either. So I in my opinion, I think it would have been cool if they gave us like little connectors or something so that you could plug them in there. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could tape it together with a little scotch tape or something to that effect. I don't know really. I just find it interesting that they made these pieces, which obviously they're longer than this piece, but you only have one splat. So you have two of these that represent it flying out somewhere. Okay. But again, they don't plug into, that I can tell, anything other than just his wrist shooters. I don't see them attaching at all to this or this. I just don't see it, and I didn't see a piece that would connect them together. I don't see another piece that holds them together. Now, because this is the Civil War piece, I was planning on buying two of them, one to portray as the Civil War portion and the other to portray as Spider-Man Homecoming. And you know how it is, I ended up only buying one. So I mean, that's good and all. This just screws in here as such. It's articulated, so you can bend it around however you so desire, and then you can just place on here. Now this one is a little smaller than normal ones. In the world, I thought for a fact that this would have unscrewed here. Interesting. So this just pops off and this just goes on, and then you tighten it down. That's interesting. It normally doesn't work in that manner. Normally it screws off because this has a little bit of a smaller hole on it. than normally. So I went out and grabbed another one just to make sure, because I was like, God, maybe I picked the wrong one. But definitely, if you see, they've got this little extra little piece that they've put on the bottom of this, which normally isn't on them. All right, and it is a little skinnier than the others, but I find it interesting that this doesn't come off, or what this does, this cap here. So I suppose you would just tighten that down on that like you would normally. I don't know how much tightening can be done on it though with that there attached to it. I see this being a problem, truthfully, because that's a solid piece there. Well, it's rubber. It's actually rubber and squishy. So I suppose it will tighten down. So what's the purpose of this? Just show off? Let's go ahead and tighten that down. See how well it'll hold. Now it wants to slide. And I'm afraid to tighten it too much, obviously. That's about hand tight. Right there, that's about hand tight. And it just positions around. It doesn't really tighten down on it. So I'm not real thrilled with that. So let's put him in his little pose here. Has a little foam in here. Holds him well. Keep him in place. So we can put him in there quite easily. And then you can position him however you want. So we can put him into a flight pose, or a swinging pose, if you will. So his articulations are ratchets. It's about as high up as this arm will go in that manner, but I would imagine you should be able to twist it and go straight up. So his suit's a little restricting, so finagling of the suit will allow it to go into a better position. So there we can actually get his hand over his head as such. It's got a little butterfly joint, which is really going to aid in positioning that. You can see how that moves forward and back. And like I said, just swinging it up is going to be limited. So it's a matter of swinging and twisting and pulling in order to get him straight up. Because just lifting him up, he's going to stop right there. But by spinning it, you can put it straight up and or even over his head. Thank goodness for the little black lines in his outfit there, so we can line that back up. The outfit moves around quite easily to aid in the posing as you spin his arm around. His elbow bends in about that far right there. Just pretty good. That's more than a 90 degree. Nice shape in the arm. And it'll extend straight out. You can spread them out that far. Forward and back is really good. That's nice. And then we can really get a definite toe point there. And it'll move in sideways like that, move out sideways like that. So we do get some ankle pivot, but not a lot. So that's going to assist in his posing ability. So there's all the way up with a little toe adjustment, and there's all the way down. And that's the bottom of his little shoe, and you can see where the toe is spread up like that. And for his ab crunch, you see he's already bent over a little bit in that. You can bend him down as such, and then bend him back in that manner. Get that arm out of the way so you can see that. So there's his ab movement from that to that. That's pretty good, I'd say. And see for his neck. You can bend his head down to about that, and then bend his head up to about that. So from that to that. That's pretty good. It's a good range, I do say. From that to that. And let's see. Side to side pivot or tilt from there to there. That's really good. I like that. See if we can get his jackets on here. Get his arms back to where it's supposed to be. I hate when I maneuver the arms so much that I can't get it exactly back to where it's supposed to be at. That makes it kind of frustrating a little bit. We do have bicep pivot as well, so it's just a matter of getting it to where I want it to be in order to get it in. Having a hard time getting it back to that position. So you see how that is closer on this side? I must have his bicep twisted in the wrong way. Can't necessarily get it right in there anymore. I guess that's what I get for really twisting them around, huh? Let's try and get his jacket on. Imagine we're going to take off his hand and his web shooters. I've had figures that are much more difficult to dress than this. Considering we're going over a suit which is rough material, I'm surprised that it's going on as easy as it is, to tell you the truth. And a little more finagling, be able to get that perfectly on there. Alright, Spidey. I've messed with him so much, I'm having difficulty. He doesn't want to cooperate with me right now. There we go. See here, got his little wrist peg caught up into the hem of the coat, so that would stop that. Did that on both sides. So make sure you get your little wrist peg through there. Yeah, now he's wanting to cooperate. Now we're getting it in there. Look at that. Now it's going on there properly. So just pay attention to those little wrist pegs. They got in the way from the arm going all the way through. Let's put a little holding hand on here. See if we can get him to hold his little mask. They could have made these articulated. These grasping hands here. They literally could have put a little wire in there, and which would enable you to squeeze it down. I mean, they've been doing that since the original Gumby and Pokey figures way back in the day. So this could have been done, and they did not. So they kind of missed the mark, in my opinion, on that. I like articulated hands because I have a feeling he's not going to want to hold his mask very well in this hand. Kind of just bunch it up there, and he'll hold it, but he's just barely holding it. It's just really just kind of through the pressure of it being folded up. Is he even able to hold it in his hand as such? Let's see if he can hold his book. Now I'm sitting here trying to, see if this will actually hold the book, like possibly in one hand, and it doesn't really. There's no wrapping around of it, so the hand doesn't hold the book per se. So it will hold the book, I suppose, if we had it open in this manner for him to be reading it, but he can't like hold it in his hand as such. He can't be swinging with it while he's holding it. So the hand doesn't grasp around the book, and that's a shame. Like I said, they could have just put a little wire in there, and you could have bent that just like they did Gumby and Pokey all those years ago. That would have been so easy to do and easily attainable. Put his little web shooter up in here. Let's give him a web shooting hand. Oh man, I just bent that. So be careful with that. What in the world? I just bent that and broke that. Well, be careful with your hot toys. But I gotta say, I'm really pleased with this. Let's put his wings on. Let's get him back out of this. I put him into this. I didn't even put his wings on. Gotta have his little wings on. And by the way, this is a hard plastic piece here. Simple as that. They just set there. You don't have to do anything to them. Just make sure that the arms are in the proper position, the legs are in the proper position, and they just magnetize themselves right up into where they should be. Got his little body all out of whack for it to be perfect. And that's his little web wings. Easy enough to put in there, and you can just finagle them a little bit to get them even more so perfect. This arm I got out of whack. Got to figure out how that arm goes back exactly to the point. Probably pretty close there. But like I said, right there, there, and there are where the little magnets attach. That's the back of his suit. So I'm really digging this. I'm glad I got him. I love Tom Holland's depiction of Spider-Man. We're going to use the wings. We're going to have to put them down around his hip in order to get a good pose out of him there. putting on these hands into these little ball joints is never fun, especially when you've got the little hole halfway filled up. Don't know if you can see that. Got a little piece of junk in there. So I'm gonna have to dig that out to get it to go in there. That's why I'm happy they give you the extra wrist pegs, because there are times when you're just gonna wanna put a wrist peg on a hand and leave it there, because it'll be easier coming on and off the hand or in and out of the wrist than the other. So one way it'll come easy, one way it will come not as easy. So you'll find on each figure one or the other. It's like how this one stayed in the hand here and came out of the wrist. You'll find each figure, one of them becomes easier than the other. So then you'll find if you're going to want to switch out hands a lot, you'll find just by putting the pegs into the hands on that one side and having them coming out of the wrist will be easier. This side, obviously, it stayed into the wrist and came out of the hand. So there you have it. Tom Holland Spider-Man from Spider-Man Homecoming specifically, but also from Captain America Civil War. Pretty much the same suit. I don't see any differences in it, actually. And needless to say, they didn't release a Spider-Man from Captain America Civil War. So leave your comments in the section below. Tell me what you think about this. Did you get them? Or are you going to be trying to track them down through third-party resellers? Follow me on Facebook at Siri Emerald and Twitter at Siri Emerald. Watch my videos on Saturday mornings, my time. So they start at 7 a.m. Pacific. So what is that? 8, 9, 10 a.m. Eastern time. You do the math, figure out what time it is for you. I do them just about every Saturday. I haven't skipped a Saturday now in probably a month. And that way you control the show. I'm going to unbox a figure, go over some things, maybe show you some comparisons. If you want to see a figure I've already owned, I can show you that. If you want to talk about, we can talk about anything. If you want to talk about my Camaro, and we can talk about anything you want. It's your show when you're on there, because it's a live session. And I'll stick around for an hour for you to spend time with you guys. I really love the time with you in regards to that. I love every one of you. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being a subscriber. And if you haven't subscribed, take this opportunity now to do so. And make sure you tell your friends about this channel. Share this video with your friends. And tell them when they do subscribe to go ahead and to click the little bell icon so that they know whenever I uploaded a video. And to see more videos that I've made, you'll find them posted over here on the right. Hey, thanks again for watching, everyone. See you in the next video. Happy collecting.